So in the previous lecture, we discussed about the DNS, and then we also discussed about the SMTP protocol and basic working of the email architecture. And after going on to that, we need to understand one more important element of the application layer, that is the World Wide Web. So this is also understanding the architecture of World Wide Web is very much essential, because when we say we have lot of resource information or a lot of different variety of information is available in the internet. Basically, we need to use anything that we want to access from the internet. We required a tool that is nothing but a web browser. So any information that you're going to access, that is with the help of the World Wide Web, that is, or for that a particular tool is required, that is a web browser. So we are going to discuss the architecture of World Wide Web, how it works, how it sends the information, how it sends the request, and how it gets the response. And with that, we also need to understand the what are the different types of web pages we have. Okay, static web pages, dynamic web pages, and what are hypertext, and what is hyperlink. These things we're going to discuss now. So when we say World Wide Web, it is popularly known as an architectural framework. Okay, so it has got variety of content spread over the millions of machines. So it has got when you want to access any information, the information will be present on many servers. Okay, it is not like only Google has information. You can search in many, I mean, all the browsers or websites have got different servers. So the information will be available in millions of servers. So, and it is not only that, the earlier when it was started, it has got only text based information. But as and when the invention went on, it has got variety of information. Like the information can be a text, it can be a image, it can be a photo, I mean, it can be a blueprint, or it can be a report, and many other document, and so on. So there are a large different varieties of applications or the information that is available on the website or on the web. And then the earlier when it was started around 1989 by the European Center for Nuclear Research, that is CERN. Okay, so they were started, I mean, they started using this, I mean, they invented this, and then they started the era was started. So in mid 1990s to 2000, this was all the things that happened in the World Wide Web. And so they came up with this W3 consortium. Okay, so www, basically we have got this as www.w3.org. So we call this as a consortium. So it is an organization that manages all the informations. Okay, how many web servers are there, on what regulations or what guidelines we have to give when a user wants to host a website, or how all the things are managed, and what protocols that will be used. So for that, we have got a consortium, that is the World Wide Web, that is the consortium or the standard organization, and it provides protocols. So in this it, I mean, and also the information that is available, it has got distinct information is available. And also it depends on the time zone where we are using it. Okay, more countries and time zones collaborate using a constantly changing collection of reports. Okay, so different variety of applications are available. So when we started using this World Wide Web, we wanted a tool that can connect us from the our user's screen, or from a user's point of view, to the server. So for that, we required the web browser. So web browser is a software program, we can say, which will connect a user's web page, or you can say where a user is accessing or asking any query to the website or any search engine, and it connects to the web server. So then with the help of web server, it gets the information and it displays on the web page. So already we all know that web pages are available, and basically to use that we require some web browsers. So when the first website, I mean, the first web browser that was designed was the Mosaic. And then later on, we came up with Netscape Navigator, which was built in Java, and then we had Microsoft Internet Explorer, so which was basically in ASP.NET, and so on. So um, and these are the, I mean, then the era of this came into existence, that we then we had a Mozilla Firefox and Chrome. Now we can say the entire web, I mean, will be handled by the Chrome. So Chrome is the master, we can say. So anyone wants to use the internet, he will always try to use it using the Chrome, because this is very fast, and it gives a lot of information within fraction of seconds. So that is all the brief introduction about the World Wide Web. And this decade, or this current era, we can call it as the .com era. That means everything that you want to search, or you want to apply, or you want to know something about any particular subject, we can just Google it. Okay, so or you can call it as .com era or Google era, we can say. So everything is available on the internet. But when we say the internet, it is not only the hardware part, it also requires the software. That is nothing but a browser is required, and also we require web servers where your information will be present and the things will turn up. So let us quickly move on to this, the architecture of it. So this was the organizations. The first, it was started in European Center for Nuclear Research, and then it has got variety of information, as we said. So the period through 2000, when many web companies became worth hundreds of millions of dollars overnight, however, it just turned out to be a hype. So many companies started designing different web browsers, and like that, we have first one was the Mosaic, and then we had Netscape Navigator, Internet Explorer IE that we call, and then we had, I mean, latest now Opera, Mozilla Firefox and Chrome and so on. So a lot of variety of web browsers are available. So this is the architectural overview that we can see here. So this is the perfect example of Washington CS department. So when you log on to this washington.cu.ec, so or org, so you'll get this web page. Okay, and then we can have this hyperlink here and so on. So let us understand how this web browser works. So whenever user types URL, so basically when you want to access any information, it will be having a URL. Okay, so where through the URL you can access any information, like if you want to say index.html page, or if you want to check what is there in the about us.html page. So this is required. So you need to type a URL, followed by the URL you will get the contents. So basically, to design a web application, it can be designed by using a variety of software tools that are available. I mean, with different scripting language, you can say. Basically, earlier days we used the HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, that is cascading style sheets, and so on. So we used basically for this is what only for the static. I mean, just to display the information on the screen and to do some basic validations, we use the JavaScript. But later on, we got different technology like Java server pages, JSP. Then we had this active server pages, ASP.NET. That is the software, I mean, given by tool available from the Microsoft company. And then we have this PHP, which is a open source, and Ajax. So there are many other software tools or languages with that we can design the web pages or website, we can say. So whenever you click on a website, basically you will log into any one of the web page. Either you will be on the index.html, or you will be on the home page, or any one basic that is already available. So uh, what this web browser will do, so when you type a URL, the web browser will read this URL first, and then it will send a request, okay, to the concerned authority. So from the user's point of view, if you want to see, the web consists of vast worldwide collection of content. So even when you type any, say what is computer or what is computer networks, so if you type such keywords, so it will go through all the keywords that are available in different servers. So when you type something or when you search something, you will get variety of information. You may get a image, like for example, if you type what is computer networks, so you will get a image of it, or you may also get a document, you may get a PPT for that, or you may get a video. So to that keyword, there will be a lot of contents available in the different web servers, we can say. So the web browser will read this URL, and then it will send a request. So how it sends a request for this, it uses the protocol, that is the typical protocol for any information that you want. So basically that uses the HTTP protocol, that is the hypertext transmission protocol. So it uses the port number 80. So like the SMTP uses the port number 25, similarly this HTTP uses the port number 80. So when you want to search anything, or even if you use this local web server, if you say the information is available on the local host, so for that you can use WAMP web server, or you can say Apache web server, so which will be available in the local host. Similarly, web server where your database will be present and your information will be stored. So the web pages often just called as pages, so we can call them as the pages. So each page may contain links to other pages as well. So when information is available, so web browser will take the URL and then it will send a request so different authorities. So it may get the information from the YouTube or from the web server or some Google Analytics. So from the YouTube it may show you a video in this page. Here you may get a video here, or you may also get a text information related to this Washington department, CS computer science department, or you may get Google Analytics. So that means the web browser is connecting simultaneously for 3 servers. Okay, so that means it is connecting to 3 different databases, we can say, which are present in different locations. And it doesn't mean that the web server should be placed on only one particular say at one particular place. It can be placed in many places also, and it can have duplicate servers as well as a backup. So you may get a document from this, or you may get a video from the YouTube and Google Analytics.com. So this Google Analytics.com will give the how many number of users are visited this particular website. So if you want analysis part, you can the information will be available from this. So once you once the servers, these are the web servers, once they give the information, so with the help of HTTP response, so the web browser will take that response and it will present on your screen or present on your browser. So the information that it gets, the web browser, the information it gets, it can be a document, it can be a video, or it can be any other information. So that will be presented in this. So for presenting, we basically used CSS, that is cascading style sheet, or we can also use XML. So how we are going to design, like if you take the websites, it can be 2 column and 3 column websites, or 1 column, one large. So earlier days we use the table tags. If you know little bit of HTML, we use the table tags, but latest we are using div tags. Okay, that is division. So we can divide the website into 2 columns or 3 column website. If you take the, for example, Facebook, it is a 3 column website. So for this currently it is a 2 column website. So it depends on the requirement of the software, requirement the customer, how you're going to design the website. So next, quickly moving on to this, we need to understand the important terms, that is what is hypertext and what is hyperlink. So the idea of having one page point to another is called as the hypertext. So in this, if you, if there is any data that is present and if you click on that, it will point to the next page or a next document that we can call it as the hypertext. And then what is a hyperlink? Okay, so hyperlink can be, it can be a text. Hyperlink can be a text, or it can be an icon. Earlier days hyperlink was only a text. Okay, uh, but these days a hyperlink can be an icon, or it can be an image, or it can be a video URL, and so on. So when you click on a hyperlink, it will automatically open in a new tab, whereas this hypertext will point to the next page. That's it. Okay, like when you click on one of the when you get a response, when you fetch any information on the web page, so that information can give in, when you type what is computer networks, you may get a text document, or you may also get a hyperlink, which will give you, like always you can see that to know more about this computer networks, you can click on the following link, or you can visit this particular link. So all these we can call it as the hyperlink. Then web pages are generally viewed with a program called as the browser, as we already know. So this is the software program, we can say, which will connect the user's website, and it will send the request, and it gets the required response, and then it displays on the browser. The browser fetches the pages requested, interprets the content, and displays the page properly formatted on the screen. So to have this proper format, we use this HTML to display the information in a proper way. Then so for this, it uses the HTTP protocol. So the browser is displaying a web page on the client machine. Each page is fetched by sending a request to one or more servers. So whenever it wants to send a information or a request, it uses the HTTP protocol. And for this, it requires the port number, that is 80. So when it sends a request for the client server, so the client will check whether I'm available or no. So the client will check the port number, whether it is 80 or no. If it is 80, then it will say that yes, I am ready to accept your request and I am ready to give you a response. So through that, we are going to study how this actually request and response will be sent by using some methods. Okay, that we are going to study in the coming classes. Uh, there are a lot of post and get like this. There are different methods, so that will be request will be sent through the function calls and you will get a response, so which responds with the contents of the page. The request response protocol for fetching pages is a simple text based protocol that runs over the TCP. So first, it will make a TCP connection with the client, and once the connection is established, uh, as it was the case with the SMTP, the HTTP protocol will take care of the sending a request and getting back a response, and then the browser will get the information that will be visible for the users. Now we need to understand the types of web pages. This is also very much important. As we know, we earlier days when it was started, the most of the pages were static, and these days whatever information we have, even now also we have static pages, but more of the things we have is the dynamic pages. So what is the basic difference between static and dynamic pages? When we say a static web page, it consists of only the contents that will not change. For example, if you visit our college website or any of the college's website or institution websites, it will be a constant. I mean, the data will not change regularly. It very often is, I mean, it will change like for every 2 months or 3 months. I mean, it is not changing frequently. Only the text information will be there, and some other related links will be provided in the static web pages. So, but whereas in dynamic web pages, it is generated on demand by a program. For example, to understand the dynamic web page, I will give an example. So, suppose you visit say a college website, you will have about us, okay, what are the events that have happened in the college, and what is the strength, I mean, what is the intake of this college, what is the location of the college, and Google map, and so on. Only the static information will be available. But when you take up a dynamic web page, let me take up an example of Flipkart, okay, or any other e-commerce website. If you take, uh, when you perform some a certain action based on your demand, I mean based on your action, you will get some information. For example, assume that you have opened a Flipkart and you are purchasing some books related to your programming subject. Okay, so when you click on that, it will go to the next link automatically, dynamically, and that information will be available on your screen. So it is like a command based or on your user's demand. So when you click on one particular action, another action will take place automatically and that will be available. But whereas in static, only the content or information will remain same and the same thing will be available for you. And then in the dynamic page, and second time when you open the same e-commerce website, earlier, I mean, it is like market basket analysis, what that we call. So earlier you have purchased say programming book on Java. So next time when you visit the same Flipkart e-commerce website, for when you search for books, it will show you the books related to Java or Python and so on, because it will store the information that you already visited. So earlier you have visited this page already and you have searched for some programming books. Similarly here also it will search for the programming books and it will show the same content to you. So it is like a this is the perfect example for a dynamic web page. Or even you can take a online banking. So if you take online banking, when you perform like go to my account, so it will display that. Or even if you take the Aadhaar card, I mean website, so aadhaar.com, so there also will get, based on your actions, the pages will change. So that we can call it as the dynamic page. I hope the difference between static pages and dynamic pages are clear to you. And to give some more differences, static web page will take less time to load because it will not have any contents. I mean, it will not have any actions to perform. Whereas in case of dynamic pages, when you send a request, it will, like for example, if you are purchasing a book, so when you click on Java books, it has to go to the Java book image, and then it will show you the screen of Java book. I mean, it will show the image of the Java book. So static dynamic web page takes a lot of time to load. If there are more contents are there in the website, it will take a lot of time. Uh, to do this, web pages require some techniques for naming and locating pages. So there are three things that are present in a link. So the first one is required is the protocol, and then the DNS name for the machine on which the page is located, and then the path that uniquely specifies the page. So here they have given an example in the earlier diagram that we have seen. The same example they have taken. So HTTP, this is the www.cswashington.edu.index.html. So in this we have three things. So this uh, HTTP is a protocol, okay, that we are going to use. Then the DNS name. The DNS server name will be www.cs.washington.edu, and then the index.html. So this index.html is the actual page that will be loaded when you visit this website. Okay, and remember that whenever you open any website, okay, so the first page that will be always loaded will be always index.html. I mean, if it is designed in the HTML, if it is designed in PHP, it will be index.php, or it will be index.jsp. So by default, the page that will be loaded is index.html or index.html and so on. So when you want to access this information, that is index.html, you require a protocol, then you require the DNS name, and then you require the specific page, whether the index.html or about us page or home.php and so on. So that page, when you want to load it, so you need to follow this link. And so to do this, the browser carries out some different tasks. So first, browser determines the URL. So what is the URL and where it is located? So it will check the URL first. So once the URL is checked by seeing what is selected, once the URL is checked, what this browser will do, browser will ask the DNS for the IP address, because we know that the information in the server will be stored in terms of IP addresses. Since we cannot remember the IP addresses, we use the domain names, but internally it has to be domain name has to be converted into IP addresses. So the browser asks the DNS for the IP address. So if you take this washington.edu, the DNS replies, it gives the replies. So what will the reply? The DNS will reply with the proper IP address. For this example, I mean, for this washington.edu, they have given that the IP address will be 128.208.3.88. So this is the IP address. So like this, for different websites, different IP addresses will be written from the DNS. Then the browser makes a TCP connection. So once it gets a proper IP address, it tries to connect with the TCP connection. Okay, so and the connection, for to establish the connection, we require the port number 80, because we are using the HTTP protocol. So once the connection is established, then the HTTP will take care of sending a request for that particular page, whether you want index.html or about us page, or the home.html, so on, whichever page you are requested, it will send a request to that particular web server, and it gets the response. So for the page, I mean, here the sends a request for the page. That means it will ask, I want index.html, please provide me all the information that is available in index.html. So once that is been sent to the client server, I mean the server that is present, server sends the page as HTTP response. So it will give a response with the same HTTP protocol, and it will say that yes, your index.html is present at www.cs.washington.edu, and the information that is present on the index.html. So the information that is available on index.html can be a image, or it can consist of a link, or it can give a video link as well. So whatever information that is available in the index.html, that will be visible for us as a response. So then the browser fetches the URLs as needed. So if it consists of any URLs, okay, so index.html may internally have some other URLs as well. So all those will be visible, and the browser displays the page as it was fetched. Okay, and then the TCP connection will be released. So these are the tasks that will be carried out by the browser. So when you want to request any information, these are the steps that will be carried out. And then we need to understand about the hypertext protocol. As we already know, the request and response protocol that normally runs over the TCP is a protocol used by World Wide Web for fetch hypertext documents. Okay, it specifies what messages clients may send to servers and what responses they get back in return, as we just now discussed. So it specifies what the client is requesting and what exactly the client wants, and also it will, whatever server has given, I mean server gives the information, the same information will be fetched by the HTTP protocol, and then it will give to the browser, and browser will display it on our browser screen. Uh, once this is done, so we'll quickly move on to this. Uh, will in more detail we can study about this dynamic and static web pages. Okay. So I mean, the protocol that can be used, different protocols can be HTTP. I mean, if it is very secure, then it will be always HTTPS. So whenever you are, most of the time when you're using Facebook and other websites, just try to check that you will be having HTTPS, because most of the hackers and other things, they will be using the same, they may design a same duplicate of application and they can put it as a HTTP. So you should be very concerned when you are using any popular websites. So it should be always having the HTTPS. And then if you are using basically for they are given the bank.com, so for banking applications, so always it should be secured. If you visit spi.com, I mean spiionline.com, it will be always starts with HTTPS. So also you can have FTP for file transfer protocol, and for multimedia like audios and videos, it will be like SIP, and so on. So there are different availability, I mean different protocols that are available, and these protocol are for some particular task, specific task. For sending an email, you can use mail to protocol. So there are a lot of protocols that are available, but for our concern, we need to concentrate on HTTPS, and then the FTP. So these are the important things that we need to discuss. And then uh, this is a web page or home page, we can say. So hyperlinks, we can have hyperlinks, we can have images. So we had different versions of HTML. Like in the next semester, you're going to study web programming. There you will come to know all about this. So to give a more one more information, a hyperlink, we can say that. Uh, so this is the hyperlink, we can say. Okay, so this we can say is a hyperlink. So when you click on this, we use this tag. When you click on this, automatically double click on this, it will open in the browser. Okay, so like this, it will open. So again, I need to click on this new share. So where your page will be loaded. So this like google.com. So your page will be loaded then. Okay. So when you click on that hyperlink, your page will be loaded. So this is what we can call it as the hyperlink. So in the dynamic web page, this is what happens. So through the web page, it will go to the program and it will check what the information is available or no. Then it will give information to web page again back, and then it will do the next task. So you may go for my banking account. So from account you want to do the front transfer, that will be the third task, and how much you want to transfer. And then again the information will be sent back here, and then the information will be on the web page. So in dynamic web pages, some programs will be also running behind the scene. But whereas in the static web pages, only the information, displaying of the information will be available. Whereas in the dynamic web application, as the name says dynamic, there will be applications also running on the website, like a online banking project or a online banking website. Okay. So So that's all for the today's session. I mean, we'll consider the features of some important features we have for the HTTP, and then the methods and the other information we'll discuss in the next class. I want to clear one point, like